and we hold the world ransom for $1 million.
Don't you think maybe we should ask for something more than $1 million, like Bitcoin? Fiat money's worthless.
Hey everybody, welcome back to the channel. Today we have a treat. We have Geoff McCabe from Divi, the founder. He's gonna go over a lot of things. I'm gonna ask him some stuff that I'm really curious about. I'm sure it'll be great. He's a cool guy. How you doing?
Hi, here I am in Costa Rica, covered with bug bites. I was out in the tall grass a few days ago, weed whacking, and it's one of the things about Costa Rica. You got to wear bug spray, and if you don't, you're in trouble.
Yeah, same in Texas, man. The mosquitoes will carry off. They're
Yeah. So, yeah, I'm glad to be in my office in the air conditioning and looking forward to this.
Well,
First time on your show.
Yeah, I've been looking forward to it too. I think you're an interesting, cool guy. We've talked a bit off camera line, whatever. But I wanted to kind of go over that just a little bit about your background, because it is very interesting and what you've done and accomplished and how you got into crypto. Just a little overview for people that don't know who you are.
Yeah, so I have a master's degree in physics from the University of Central Florida in Orlando. And I never worked in physics. I started a jewelry business while in graduate school, and I thought, wow, I like business and making jewelry and creative stuff a lot more than I like sitting around, being around chemicals and being around like 90% men or whatever it was in physics. There's more women now, but it's kind of like crypto was in the beginning, right? It's all men, but it's just a lot of geeks. And so I decided to just drop out of physics. I was planning to get a PhD. I got a master's degree, and I ended up inventing something really cool with jewelry that got me in touch with people that wanted to do it much bigger. And so I went to China and opened a factory there. This is in 1993 when where we were, they had literally never seen a white person. And everywhere we would go, like humongous crowds of thousands of people would gather just to stare at me, and it was pretty crazy. And it grew really well. We ended up having offices all over the place, and 210 sales managers. I had 1,000 employees in the factory. We did 11 or 12 million dollars one year. Then the whole thing crashed and burned, and ended up sort of selling that to my business partner, who's now one of our advisors actually in Divi. And I moved down to Costa Rica, and I opened up a hotel and yoga center and started an eco village where I live now. So I've been building this eco village, and I've mainly worked with Divi now. I haven't had time for really anything else. So that's kind of everything else has been on hold. But it's been good because I have another income source. One of the reasons we were able to survive the down season, the bear market in crypto, is that I didn't need to take a salary, and I could afford to go as long as I need to, and just make this work. And I know that's been a big problem why a lot of other cryptocurrencies have had to stop, is their teams just ran out of funding, and you got to eat, right? And so a lot of younger teams, I think, they don't have another income source. So if you can't pay yourself, you can't keep going. And we were in a fortunate situation that both Nick and I were able to work with no salary. And so that's basically my history. I have a lot of business background. I've basically been doing business my entire life. So I've started all kinds of businesses, real estate company, hotels, all kinds of stuff. And so that's really served us well, I think, with Divi. I'm not just a young coder that's trying to create a big business, but I'm somebody with a wide variety of skills. And these are businesses where nobody gave me money. I had to make money. They had to be successful. I had to be good at marketing. I had to be good at branding, or I would fail and have no way to feed myself. So it's a completely different mentality than being a smart coder and having somebody hand you a whole bunch of money and then trying to build a business and having no idea what you're doing. And so people ask us what the difference is about Divi and why did we survive. That's a lot of it. And my partner Nick is also fantastic, super smart guy, he has, for his young age, I think he's 27, he has quite a bit of experience too. I was really surprised that for somebody as young as him, the amount of experience he had. So that's one of the things that kind of made the Divi difference, you might want to call it, as to why we've been so successful in the bear market.
Yeah, I've interviewed Nick. I like Nick. He's very you can tell he's really committed, very energetic, and he's a smart guy. I'm surprised that he's 27. That is kind of mind-blowing, actually.
Yeah, I think it was actually last year I was exactly twice his age for a while, though. But we always feel like equals,
Yeah. One of my best friends is a year older than me, but to me, he's like, 90. I always make the joke. Like, dude, you're so old.
His mentality, huh?
Yeah. And how did you get into crypto?
I got into crypto. I have a friend that I call Bitcoin Robbie, who now has a house right next to me in Costa Rica, and he's an artist, and he's a musician, and he's like, Jeff, I got to tell you about cryptocurrencies. Have you ever heard about Bitcoin? And I was like, yeah, I've heard about it in the news. It's always in the news. I read all the tech news, and I always have since I was in high school. I was super geek, and so I didn't know much about it. And he's like, yeah, I put my whole life savings into it, and I was like, dude, you're crazy, And I started asking him all these technical questions, like coming from a math and physics point of view. And he's like, I don't know, dude, I'm telling you, it's going to take over the world and the banks and this and that. And he wasn't very good at convincing me to buy it. I decided to buy some, and I went and bought, I don't know, like $200 or $300 worth. And then I started really looking into it, and this thing called Ripple and Ethereum had just come out, and Ripple Google had invested in it. And I said, Robbie, this thing Ripple, I'm going to buy this one because Google is investing in it. That's going to take off. I had no idea what I was doing, right? I ended up with a wallet. I don't remember how I got it, but I didn't understand what I was doing. And then I moved some of it onto an exchange. In order to buy the Ripple, I had to create an account with that Second Life 3D world and get Linden's and then send it to somewhere and then convert it to Ripple. It was
Really?
so bizarre. Yeah, it was really bizarre.
I've wondered because I know there's something with Second Life. There's some kind of conspiracy cabal because it's been around. My cousin's been playing in that since the beginning, but I know that Craig Wright was involved with it. There's all
Really?
these big names that were involved with this and forming it. So I know there's something there. And one day I'm just
I haven't heard about this Second Life conspiracy, but you've got me intrigued.
Well, see, it's just in my head right now. But I've heard certain people, and Craig Wright mentions it all the time. Back when we were doing with Second Life, I'm like, what?
Yeah.
What? So I know there's something there.
That's interesting. Yeah, I don't know. The thing is that I think the reason is because I didn't want to have to do a wire transfer. It was such a hassle to do a wire transfer in Costa Rica. You have to go and wait in line for 2 or 3 hours in the bank and pay a lot of money. I think that I could have got it that way. The other way was to get it with PayPal, but you could only buy it $100 worth at a time. Something to do with, I don't remember. There was some sort of exchange where you could exchange Second Life linens for Ripple, I think. So I was doing $100 a day. I had planned to buy $1,000 worth of Ripple and $1,000 worth of Ethereum, and they're both less than a penny at the time, really, really little. And so I started buying Ripple first, and then I bought $600-700 worth, and I had it in this exchange called JustCoin, which was a Norwegian exchange, and the thing was hacked, and I lost it all. And I was like, screw this crypto thing. I don't like this, And I just get this message in my email. Oh, sorry to report, we've been hacked. Nothing we can do about it. You're screwed. And I didn't know what private keys were. I didn't know what any of it was. Every time I logged on, I was terrified. And I was, I'm a geek. That's how hard it was. That's how hard it was. I mean, people don't remember how hard crypto is and how confusing it is in the beginning. It's gotten a little better, but it hasn't gotten much better.
Well, that's one thing that you guys are doing that everyone talks about. Everyone talks about it's important, and then there's so many projects that come out and say we're going to make things simple. It's going to be crypto for everyone, and it's not. And They fall so short. But their goals are even short. You know what I mean? What a tech super geek thinks easy and for everyone is very difficult for a regular person.
Right.
And like I had mentioned to you, we're all stuck in our echo chambers that we don't we don't see
Yeah.
that far. Now you look at, and we're all interested in crypto from the tech point of view. That scared me so much in the beginning. It was the same thing you went through for me, but I was buying a t-shirt. I bought, these t-shirts online for my kids. They're like, goofy, funny things with $6 shirts. They're still around, but they started taking Bitcoin so far back, like in the beginning. And I was like, what is Bitcoin? I've heard about it. And my son's like, oh, it's digital money, mining, blah, blah, blah. And I was like, what? I was like, so I can just make it on my computer? That's fake. So I
Yeah.
can just make some money up and then buy the shirt? He's like, no, you don't understand. I was like, why is it worth anything? And he's like, because you have to make it. It takes electricity. I'm like, that's the dumbest thing I've ever heard, dude. So this lamp that is
Yeah.
using electricity is money? And he's like, no, you don't understand. It's math, and they got to solve a problem.
I
I
know.
was
So
like,
this is what Robbie tried to tell me this, but he was an artist and a musician,
mhm.
and I still we surf together a lot, and I always bother him and say, dude, it's your fault I'm not rich because you didn't do a good enough job of making me buy this stuff early on, right? I give him a hard time and blame him for my own lack of research, right? So he was smart. He bought a lot of it, and when it was it wasn't a penny or anything like that, but he bought a bunch of it, and he sold it when it was good. So for me, what happened is I lost it all, got really mad at the whole crypto thing, said screw this, and then 2017 came around, and Robbie started talking to me about it again, and Bitcoin is really going up. This is like in January, and I was sitting there going, okay, I'm going to go back and buy some Ethereum now, and so then I didn't, and all of a sudden it went up like 1,000 times like a week later, and I was so mad that I didn't take the time, and so then I put it off again, and then it went up again like in was it May or June of 2017, and I was like, God damn it, I think it was May or April, so whatever it was, I kept missing it out, and then so then I bought it, so then I finally bought a whole bunch of random coins, not knowing anything about it, and some friends approached me and said, hey, we want to start this cryptocurrency, can you help us? You have a lot of experience with this stuff, and not with crypto, but just with business and tech background. So as soon as they did that, we kind of started saying, so okay, we want to do this. We're going to call it Divi, but what are we going to do? What is it going to be? We need to solve a problem here. And I said, I know what problem we need to solve. This stuff is so confusing, so complicated. There's got to be an easier way to do this. Why does it have to be this way? I was convinced that it didn't need to be this way. So then I started, I read Antonopoulos' book, and I started talking to everybody. I got in touch with Namecoin. I started talking to Daniel Kraft, who's the main developer, and I realized, there's these things that we now call HRAs, human readable addresses. They've been created a long time ago, but nobody's using them. And so this is great technology that had been developed. Nobody was using it. And I realized if we could kind of put this all together and make the on-ramp and off-ramp, I made a list of all the things I hated, that everybody hated about crypto, and said, let's solve all these problems, solve all of them. Because that's the way it was with the World Wide Web too. It was hard at the beginning. It was confusing. There were a lot of problems to solve, and technology seems to have a way of solving everything. The most difficult one is what to do about private keys, right? And even that now, I think there's a really good solution that we're working on that will make it really easy to recover your private key that's not going to have people, scribbling it down on a piece of paper and then losing it and losing everything, because that's not acceptable. So pretty much all the problems in crypto have been solved. They just need to really be put together in a single ecosystem with a really well-designed sort of Apple version of crypto wallet, right? So that's what we're doing.
Yeah, that's a really good analogy, and that's another thing I really wanted to talk about as far as Divi 2.0 is creating that ecosystem where everything is there. And there's been other projects who have talked about that and who have started to do it, but I think the ones who have done the most failed because they're so complex. Like you open that wallet and it looks like you're looking at, basic coding. There's so much, and it's so just jagged looking. You know what I mean? It's not smooth like in the Apple Store. Um,
Yeah.
as far as
Yeah.
2.0, can you go over what 2.0 is going to bring? I know you can't go specifics, and you hate doing dates, but
Yeah.
if you could just give
Yeah, we don't do dates.
what's
We've done
coming with
dates too many
2.0.
times. Dates are bad. Well, I think the thing that's the best, and it's really hard to explain this, is the user experience is going to be phenomenal. I mean, just way better than anything else out there. You know, it's when the iPhone was invented, they talked about how, you know, you hand someone an iPhone, they start playing with it, and then they refuse to give it back because they're like, no, this is mine now. I want this. I'm never going back to the way old phones used to work. You know, that's the way we're trying to make the wallet, where it's just beautiful. Everything just moves so smoothly. Everything's really clear about what it is. It's really fun, you know, and our team is just so great. The demos that I've seen, you may be seeing some of them. We've dropped a few demos online. I just saw one a couple of days ago, and it's just amazing, you know. So the user experience, it's hard to explain how important that is. But if the user experience is good enough, people just they get furious going back to other wallets, and that's what we want. We want people to be just love our wallet so much that they start demanding that we add all the other coins that they want, and that's the only wallet they'll ever need, right? And then what we do is we add other stuff. So we'll have, I think the most exciting one is having fiat bank accounts. So people will be able to open up bank accounts in US dollars and euros very easily. These will be Costa Rica based accounts, and you only need to show a national ID or passport.
You're jumping ahead of me. Hold on.
Yeah.
Okay. Now, so you own the payment processor, right? In Costa Rica.
Yeah, it's not the payment processor, it's the actual bank. Although I'm not supposed to say that it's a bank.
See, that's why I said payment processor. It's like a
we call it financial institution. It's just one of these stupid things that you're not allowed to call it a bank because banks don't want competition. So even though you're doing exactly what they're doing, you can't call it a bank.
So that's good. Financial institution. So
what it is.
And you're going to be able to issue international bank account numbers.
Yeah. So they're called IBAN accounts. It's
IBANs.
what most of the world uses. The United States and a few other countries use ACH, which is like 50-year-old system, and they're trying to get that improved, and they're dragging their feet. They like it the way it is. But
is the ACH, the automated clearinghouse, going to be adaptable to the IBAN?
Yeah. Well, yeah. So, but it's harder. So you have to basically do a wire transfer from one to the next if you will. So what we need to do is have a partner, like we have to get a SWIFT license and use SWIFT to send money from one to the next. With IBANs, it's a lot easier because one central bank of one country talks to another with an IBAN protocol that the central banks have. So we actually have our system now. Our fintech, our financial institution, is called Divi, and it's now connected to the Central Bank of Costa Rica. So we're in the process of doing a lot of tests. But that's the most exciting part, I think, of these wallets, because
that is cool. That's all leading me to this question. So the Divi wallet, number one, you're gonna be able to issue debit cards, right?
Mm-hmm.
And number two, it will be a new on-ramp to get into crypto.
Yeah. And this is the thing that's the most exciting. The problem is I'm going to tell you what I think it's going to do. But when you're dealing with banks and other people, you just never know who at the last minute is going to pop up and say, we don't like this because this may compete with us. But the way it should work is that because we own 30% of this financial company, we can basically pass user data in the background. Normally, like if you had, say, a wallet where you did your KYC in a wallet and you wanted to go open a bank account, you'd have to go through that bank and do all your KYC again. Then if you want to open up an exchange and do exchange features in your wallet, you'd have to go to that exchange, register there, go through all the KYC again. It's just a big hassle, right? Doing all this stuff. It's a lot of work doing all that. And so because we're going to own 30% of all these institutions, we can just get do KYC people in the wallet once if people want to use these things. I'm not saying that you have to, but if you want a bank account, you have to KYC, right? But we can do it once, and we can pass that in the background from one to the next. So that means you can KYC, get into our wallet. And if you want to open a bank account, you just press a button, and it'll go open it for you. I mean, it's amazing, And if you want to exchange money, like let's say you want to take a credit card and you want to buy some Bitcoin with it, with our wallet, what would happen? The process is that you could just give your credit card number. Say I want to buy $8,000 worth. Instead of buying the crypto, which the instead of buying crypto, which the credit card companies hate and do, because they're worried about chargebacks, it does a balance transfer from your card to a central bank, and there's no chargebacks. So that goes into your Divi account. And because we own the code of both the Divi bank account and the wallet and the exchange, in the background, it can then swap that cash out for the Bitcoin that you want and put it in your account. So all the user sees is buying Bitcoin, and we can do it for any amount. You can do it instantly, no chargebacks. So the fees can be really low.
That's what I'm leading to in the end. As far as fees go, there's some, like Coinbase has raised it there, and fees vary. Like I did a test on a few things, and buying $2,000 worth with a Cash App ended up being like $38. And Coinbase, it was 82. So there's this huge variance. But so the aim goal will be to have the fees as low as possible.
Yeah, so I don't like fees. I want to remove all the fees. I want to go to zero fees. That's how we're really going to defeat the banks. The banks make their money out of with fees and with fractional banking. So we're not going to do fractional banking, but we can basically take over their fee business. And it's not just us, it's all the fintechs that are competing with them. But we want a playing field where fees are zero and we make money in other things by basically building apps and use cases within our sort of wallet ecosystem, right? So our wallet's going to have extensions the way Chrome has extensions, where people can click a button and add on, say, the bank account app, or they can add on a electronic reader app to download electronic books. All kinds of stuff we'll be doing. There'll be an exchange, so we have a whole list of projects that we're kind of slowly in different levels of production and different partners with different things, but we'll be adding all these things in. And we want to basically move fees over into these products, but have the fees for moving money around or storing money or swapping from one type of money to another down as close to zero as we possibly can. Because the banks can't compete with that. So we can take over the business. We can do that because our profits can be on the crypto side and the software development side. So we just want to knock those fees to as close to zero. So, my goal is to get that, purchase of cryptos down to like 1% if we can. In order to do that, though, we'll have to find a credit card processor that's willing to work with us and charge, 1%. And then we may add on like a tenth of a point, a tiny amount just to cover something, but not trying to make fees. And that's why I think a lot of companies are failing now. As soon as you base your company about charging fees, you're screwed, because somebody else is going to come along with a better technology and charge less fees, or the partners you're working with raise your prices, and now you've got to raise your fees, and now your business model is screwed. So we want to take the fees away and make money in other ways. That's, I think, what's really interesting about what we're doing, this sort of zero fee future that we see.
That was actually the number I was hoping you would say is 1%. Because I think that's about as good as it can get.
Yeah, we want to be there's all these articles out there on Forbes. What's the best way to buy Bitcoin? We want to be on the top of every list. The easiest and best way is just get the Divi wallet and buy Bitcoin here. And plus, you never have to look at all these crazy private keys, public keys, all this stuff. You don't have to deal with any of that. And that's going to connect to your WhatsApp. You're going to be able to send Bitcoin to your friends using WhatsApp, and easily with a couple of clicks, send money to your WhatsApp account with Bitcoin, with Divi, dollars, everything. It's pretty amazing what we're doing, actually. And it's gonna blow people away when it's done, when people see all this stuff and how
I'm
it's all
I'm
fitting
still
together.
I'm still blown away. It's hard to believe the level of ease of use. Because I mean, there's not a ton of all this stuff's 2.0, but I've been very big into Masternodes. I've really talked a lot about Masternodes. Masternodes, the whole Masternode community, whatever, it's all went to crap. I talked to Nick about this. There's this massive divide, like the wealth gap. It's there's like a handful of Masternodes that are decent, and they're all way out of reach for the average person.
Yeah.
Like the average person would have to take their entire retirement savings to buy
Yeah,
and
to
put
buy a
all
Dash Masternode.
to buy Dash Masternode, and all your eggs are in one basket. They're all in crypto basket, which is not smart to do in the first place for all your eggs. It's still so volatile. But then everything else is just crap. It's a scam. It's worthless. It's not going anywhere. There's this.
Yeah.
So there's not anything there. Divi came in and they offered the tiered Masternode system, which it is obvious you were a geek because of how you set it up, which I think is cool.
Dungeon Dragons based.
Yeah. But where average person could come in and could put a decent amount and then earn that income. But like I said, I've been big into Masternodes, and they're not super easy to set up, especially if you're going to run it yourself. But even using a host, that's what I've pushed, and that's the easiest thing you can do. And you've still got to do all this copy and pasting, and then updating a wallet is you have to be technical. You have to be able to go into program files. You have to be able to delete stuff. You have to copy certain files, move them over. It does take a certain degree, and that's the easiest it was. So when I got Divi, I set up the Masternode with one click, didn't believe it, and that's literally all you do. It's one click.
I think we've got 3 different grandparents now that are running Masternodes, including my mom. And so it's really true.
It is
so easy. Your grandma can do it.
it is, and one of my viewers said it's one-click technologies which are developing. I was like, yeah, that's exactly what it is. But it came time for the wallet.
Everything's one click and no click.
It came up for the wallet to update, and then I was like, crap, because I just set up my node. Just did everything, and it was like a week later, I heard, there's going to be a wallet update, and I was like, I'm going to wait. Not even going to do it. I'm going to put everything off for a week just so I don't have to do it. And then I went ahead and set it up because I had the interview and all that, so I did it. And then it's like time to update. Click. I clicked it, and then I was waiting for more instructions. Like that's it. And I still just thinking about it. I'm like I'm going to wake up. You know what I mean? There's no. And I kept telling Nick, you don't understand what you've done. For someone who has been, in this and doing that, you don't get it. He goes, yeah, we worked hard at it. I was like, no, it's like a miracle. It's literally like watching a miracle.
Well, I mean, to us, anything else is just unacceptable. It was never acceptable the way it was. I can't believe it took this long for it to happen. And I still can't believe the number of people when we came up with the idea of making all this stuff easy that looked at us and like, well, it's already easy. Like, are you out of your minds? Like, I have people, during our ICO, I would try to get people, friends of mine that didn't know anything about crypto and they'd want to invest. And I'd have them yelling at me on the phone because they're like, what's wrong with this? Like, what is this Coinbase? This is awful. Like, this is the worst thing I've ever seen. And smart contracts, are you kidding me? And they'd get so mad. And I was like, yeah, I know, but and they're like, this is not crypto made easy. And I'm like, I know, but that's not. We're trying to solve this whole problem. We haven't started building it.
It's such a weird way because we accept so much stuff. I'll say, hey, just get it on Coinbase or do this, and they're like, man, this is so ridiculous. And it's like they want me to take a selfie of myself holding a piece of paper. This is not real, dude. This is it. You pull one over on me. It's like, no, it's kind of a thing now. You got to do that. So it is. It's just so to normal people. It's so hard.
Yeah, I was going to show you. I just did one of these for LA Token yesterday. I had to set up 3 accounts for LA Token, and so I had to go through that 3 times, and such a hassle. Nothing actually. Their LA Tokens process is really good compared to most of them. We're launching on them, I think, tomorrow. tomorrow, the
They're
next day.
they're a pretty good exchange. I like Bitrue or Bytrue.
True, yeah.
Bitrue because it's they
I
need
don't know,
it is
to be
yeah.
honest.
I know I don't know either.
That's what we call it BitTrue.
I did a story on them on the Cryptopolitan. They're partnering with VeChain, so I think it's going to be a really good exchange. But that's where I buy my Divi because they have the best volume so far. I'm hoping LA Token. They're a pretty big exchange, but I like, and that's something Nick went over, is that you're not just throwing out there to any exchange. You're really kind of being a little bit choosy when it comes to exchanges, and going on ones that are.
BitTrue is an interesting story. They're actually backed by like a $20 billion Chinese, Taiwanese, Singaporean behemoth company, but you won't see anything about it on their website because they don't kind of want the Chinese authorities, who aren't necessarily so fond of crypto, knowing that they're dabbling in this, right? And they don't need to make a lot of money. They're focused. What they want is people to sort of bank with them, and then they use the money to do micro lending. They have a micro lending project in Asia to, like, with farmers. They loan them, do short-term loans, this kind of stuff. And so because of that, they're able to focus elsewhere. They don't need the fees so much. So I think that they can afford to kind of do things right. They actually got hacked a while back, and within 24, 48 hours, everybody that lost money, they had their insurance paid them all back and had their coins back in there, purchased and then back in. And plus they went into Binance. They got everything frozen with all their friends everywhere. They were like textbook case of how things should be done with an exchange. And I really like them. So recommend that everybody trade with them.
Something you brought up microloans there, made me think. I want to go over the charity arm of Divi and what you're doing. And I had done a story that I think is really, really important. I think it's really huge. And I talked to Bitcoin Ben about it. It has to do with the UN and UNICEF. And I don't know if you know this, but a few months ago, they said that they're going to start accepting crypto for donations for UNICEF. But they came out and said that they're not going to convert it to dollars or to any kind of fiat money. They were going to hold this crypto, which I thought was another big deal. They've also partnered with Ethereum. They partnered with Ethereum Classic. But I did another story a few days ago that UNICEF is now set up at their distribution centers throughout the world, processing of Ethereum and other crypto to use it to disperse it in those countries. So they're kind of working around the system that's in place, not having to go through their central banks in the country. If they're, if you're in Venezuela, the money's crap, but UNICEF will be able to put their Ethereum or other cryptos that they're working with. So I thought that was a huge deal, that basically the world government, which I hate government, but they've realized what crypto is, the importance of it, and they're actually utilizing it for what it's designed for. And then people in the community were like, well, Divi would work better. Yeah. So just as I was going to talk to you about this later and off camera and all, but maybe even after 2.0 is out, approaching the UN as far as part of the charity arm, and look at that. But if you could go over what you're doing for the charity.
I've actually contacted UNICEF and the UN, and I've tried to find the people involved. I sent a bunch of long emails, LinkedIn connections, and I've never heard a response. I haven't found the right person yet, or haven't been able to get to the right person. They actually had grants for-profit companies that are coming up with interesting technologies. And we have something really cool we're developing for Africa, like I mentioned. We're going to have all this stuff in WhatsApp, which, it's really cool we're developing, but there's also a chance that they'll decide, well, we don't want you doing this because we have Libra and we don't want anybody competing with Libra. On the other hand, they may want competition with Libra because they're not the only ones, dealing with the regulators and stuff. So we don't know which way it's going to go. We're just going to build really cool stuff and see what happens.
Can you go over the charity part of Divi and what
Yeah.
y'all are doing?
So like for example, we were invited last year to just basically sponsor the charity part of Anarchapulco in 2019. So we raised a bunch of money from our just ourselves and some of our community, and we went and bought a bunch of computers. And then we taught some computer skills to kids in this orphanage down there, and it was so much fun. They asked if we would do it again, and we were like, "Yeah, this is great. This is like the best thing we did all year, right?" And so we were really excited about it. This year. We really went all out. We had this. We bought 10 robot building kits, and we had a contest where there were 10 teams of like 3 to 4 kids all building robots. It's like, okay, 1, 2, 3, go. It's like somewhere between like 90-minute and 2-hour process. And then they had robot battles with them. They had robot races. It was really fun. And then Frisco, our video guy, he taught a sort of how to make a video class. And he taught like how to set up a YouTube account. He showed how, like, he basically made a video right in front of them of using clips that he shot of the robot building and all of that, and just made it right in front of them so they could see how easy it was. And he taught them all that, and then he talked to them, and we basically explained like people love authenticity right now. People are so tired of being spoon-fed entertainment. That's why YouTubers are doing well. All these influencers, they want real people to hear this stuff rather than just the ivory tower, just the people with the PhDs, right? You get a lot broader view, and so people love. We told them, like, don't underestimate how many people might be interested in learning, like how you make tortillas in the kitchen. I think is one of the examples. Like authentic Mexican tortillas. Like to them, it's like something that every person in the whole country knows how to do. But for somebody around the rest of the world, they don't know how to make a tortilla. And so these kind of things, and if it can be very interesting, and just anecdotes from their lives can be very interesting to people. There's a lot of kids, and there's so many things I could think of why that would be interesting. And so one of the kids was a little older. I think he was 16, 17, kind of leader, and he was very excited. He got our email addresses, and so we're going to support him. He's going to start a YouTube channel and really talk about the orphanage and maybe help raise money for that. And anyway, we can't wait to do it. We were all, some of us in tears, some of us practically in tears at the end. All the kids were hugging us, and it was just such a fantastic experience this year. It was by far the best thing that we did in Anarchapulco, and it made us really feel like, really it brings us back to your center about understanding what this is all about. Crypto needs to be about helping people, and Nick had done a presentation about that exact subject. He opened the crypto stage at Anarchapulco, and that's online now on our channel. And it was just such a living proof of it, just seeing these kids and how we were affecting them, and it all came through crypto. And we actually raised the money by having like a retreat at my eco village in Costa Rica. We invited a bunch of our people down, some of our developers and team members, and some of our super fans came down, and I took half of the money to pay for it, and half of the money to go there. So we were able to raise $2,500. We bought 5 or 6 computers this year, plus we did the robot thing, and we're able to pay for this big lunch for them. So it was just fantastic. And so that's just an example. We have a Venezuela project as well that's going on. We're in partnership with Wild West Crypto for that.
Is there there's a certain percentage or portion that y'all are committing to?
Yeah, so 1% of the block awards will also go to
that's what I thought.
A pool. And ideally, we have a foundation in Panama that it's not really used the way we want it to be. Soon we'll be sort of putting together a bigger board of directors for the foundation. We're probably going to move it to another country, because the foundations in Panama don't really support blockchain and the idea of decentralized entities. They don't know what it is. There's no way to legally write it up. Foundations there need to have a beneficiary, basically a company or a person. And the Divi blockchain is not to benefit a company or person. It's to develop. It's to benefit itself. It's the community, right? And so we need to find another jurisdiction. I think we're going to move somewhere in Europe and do that. And with that, we'll actually have people on that board that will vote of what to do with the 1% of the block rewards that goes to charity. And so we'll hopefully be able to support a lot of projects.
With getting like solar panels installed in like schools in developing countries, because you want to get computers in there, you want to get that, but if they have no electricity, it doesn't work. Right. Also, like the schools are such an integral part of those villages. You know, they're like a central part of the community. It's a place to meet. It's all so. I think it's really important to get electricity there, and solar is becoming so much cheaper and such a good way to go. I think that's one of the best charities that people can really look at. Just my own view.
Yeah. So that brings me to one of the things you asked me before we started what to talk about, and I mentioned Maya, which you probably haven't heard about, but we're going to start talking about it now, sort of letting out a little bit of information. So we have a really amazing project we're doing. It's called Maya Energy, and we have a partner who's been in the solar power business for 10 years or so, mainly in developing countries. He works with the United Nations, with the European Union, with the Gates Foundation, and they do very big installations. So now he has more of a decentralized version of that where they basically build into containers, basically a big fold-out system. So basically can ship to a remote area of Africa, mainly, place that doesn't have power, a 20-foot container. They drive it up with a truck, and now it can provide power for either a business or like a tuk-tuk, electric tuk-tuk charging station. It can power, they have units that are designed to clean drinking water. And what's really great about this is just such a fantastic example of technology benefiting humanity. What's cool about it is that they basically find the people that are already providing the power, usually with a diesel generator. You know, it's usually, you know, breaks a lot. There's a lot of problems with it. And they basically give these to them with a contract. So, and they're able to then lower the price of the power or the drinking water to the people in their area while simultaneously making more money than before, and still provide quite a good profit to our partner. And so what we're doing with that is we're going to add some new code to the Divi blockchain where we can create security tokens. So he's going to release a security token and do an STO using the Divi blockchain with a coin called Maya. And what's really neat about it is that Maya's the benefits of Maya, the actual dividends from the company will be paid in Divi. So he can just basically dump, whenever he has a little bit of profit from the company, he can dump it into an address, and then that will be divvied out to all the Maya holders, kind of like owning a masternode. I don't think anybody's done anything like this with an STO yet. What's really neat, what's really revolutionary for STOs is that because it's part of this Divi ecosystem where you can easily buy it, you have this easy on-ramp, you can easily convert it to fiat back and forth. It opens up the market for security tokens. Because right now, you know, people are trying to do security tokens, but people are forced usually to use Ethereum or something else that's very confusing. And so the market's very small. They can't get a lot of the investors to buy them. And so by making it really easy, it opens up the possibility of tokenizing more things. So this is going to be a good use case of it. He just told me today he's got the first really big customer for these. I invested personally in it, quite a bit of money, and the rest of it is, you know, it's just he's raising this with, you know, friends in the solar power business. So pretty soon, once the security token offering is done, that'll be announced publicly. But they have to go through a lot of paperwork to do that. Right now, it's kind of only friends and family because of all the laws involved. You can only have up to like 30 investors and all this in it, and you have to be a millionaire. There's all these laws, right? Or they have to be people that are friends and family. So, but it's something that's really cool, and it's what's also neat about it is these units are going to give us hard assets in all remote areas of Africa where they don't have banks. And so this is going to offer up a lot of possibilities to connect Divi and sort of set up, Divi assets in these sort of remote areas. So we have a lot of so many possibilities what we can do with it. It's kind of boggles the mind. So we're focusing right now on getting a few of these launched and set up. Then we'll have videos and photos to show everybody, so people can get excited about it. But it's a really fantastic use case for crypto, and it's going to do a lot of benefit, because it's fantastic for the environment. They get rid of these dirty diesel generators, and they bring clean drinking water, better power to remote areas that can then some of them can come with like cell phone towers, so people can charge their phones. And when we start attaching the Divi wallet in local languages and letting people use WhatsApp and SMS to be able to send money, it's really going to be quite a powerful combination that's putting Divi into just the right sort of developing.
It's got to bring an
country
entire ecosystem instead of just internet or just water. It's everything all at once.
Yeah, but it's complicated. Like I sit there and I think of all these really cool things we could do, and they're always really great in theory. And then I tell our partner, I was like, hey, I got this great idea last night. I couldn't sleep. I was thinking about this, and why don't we do this? And they're like, oh yeah, well, it sounds like a good idea, but you can't do that because all these villages have, they're unsafe. You can't like go around. You can't just like have a guy drive around with a cell phone and like pass out Divi on the cell phone, because he's got to, everything's run by thugs in a lot of these areas. He's got to make a deal that he isn't going to get robbed, so he has protection. Like, it's just such a different world that a lot of these countries are living in Africa. And so luckily, our partner with this, he's been doing it for 10 years. And so he knows all of this, and he has all the right contacts to kind of get through. But at the end of the day, what we're being able to do is bring, I think, new opportunities and new technology to people that are very poor, that don't have a lot of opportunity, and will connect them with the world and give them sort of a financial inclusion little by little that is missing. And hopefully we'll find all kinds of cool ways to help them.
Yeah, I had heard of Maya. I thought it was really far off though. But yeah, it's an amazing idea and project. I really hope it moves forward quick.
It's moving forward fast.
Well, last thing I want to kind of go over is the lottery. I had done a video, went over it in my last update video, but and there's some other things I learned about it which I thought were interesting and cool. So basically, if you stake Divi, which you have to have 10,000 Divi to stake, then now this is something I wanted you to clear up. Is it every block while you're staking you have an entry in the lottery, or every reward you have one entry in the lottery?
Yeah, so there's one staking reward for every block, so it's both. And when you win, you get a ticket that's a number that's based on the hash of that block. So the higher the number, the better chance you have of winning the lottery. So every time you win a stake, you get a ticket. Like, for example, in the new wallet, it's actually going to show you, when you click on the lottery icon, it's going to show you, how far away it's going to be, how many tickets you now have for the lottery, and it's going to show you who the last winners were by address and this kind of thing. And once we have human readable addresses, if people, if they want, can put their name on it, or their company name, or an acronym, or whatever. I assume a lot of people don't want everybody knowing their name connecting with their address, so they'll use anonymous stuff. But basically, yeah. So there's basically every minute there's one block. Every block, somebody gets one lottery ticket, and at the end, the system takes the 11 highest numbers and awards the winners.
And
with a super block.
Every block is 50 Divi set aside. So it's 500,000, and then one person gets 250,000, and the other 10 get 25,000 each. And
it's like 254,200 or something like that. It's not exactly, but close enough.
And that's every week.
Yeah.
Okay. Yeah, I'm looking forward to winning it one day. It's pretty cool. Which is
it's actually fun. It's really fun. We're actually having. it's people just when they finally win it, they just get so excited, and it's a lot of people complain. They've said, well, the rich get richer with the system. Can't you make it so rich people can't win? But it's impossible because it's decentralized, right? If you say, well, big wallets can't win, then they'll just split it up into a whole bunch of small wallets. It'll be the same thing, and then you have just a mess of too many small wallets. So it doesn't help the blockchain. It just makes it, somebody will create an app, and they'll create an app to improve your lottery chances with Divi. Press this button, and it'll take your million and break it up into a whole bunch of little wallets. So there's no way we can really do that. The fact is, just like with any lottery, if you want to buy a bunch of Divi or buy a bunch of tickets, you buy a bunch of Divi and stake a lot of Divi, you'll get more tickets. So chance of winning. The one thing that some people don't like is that the same address can win twice. And so if somebody happens to get really lucky, if you win a whole bunch of tickets, you can win twice. You could even win 3 times. It's even happened that somebody's won 3 times. So people don't like that. So in the next version, I think we can get rid of that. So a single address can only win once.
Well, that's a big deal. Oh, yeah, that's something that and my partner had looked at. It's like, that's not cool, man. I'm like, well, I don't know what they're going to do. And I had heard that the lottery's here. So if you are looking at getting, into Divi, it would have been a lot cheaper a while back, but because the token has done very well over the past year. It's almost 10x. It has 10x at one point. But right now, you spend like $150, get your 10,000, start staking that. That's literally like buying a lottery ticket for the price of a handful of scratch offs from now on. But I had heard that it's written in the code no matter what happens with Divi. If it forks, if whatever happens, that the lottery follows. It can't be taken out. Is that right?
Yeah, it's part of the base code, right? So theoretically, somebody could do a technical fork of our code and take out the lottery. But yeah, it's not a centralized function. It's a decentralized lottery. So, but at some point we will do a hard fork and add a bunch of cool stuff to the code. At that point, we can revise the lottery to try to make it so ideally, what we really dream of is that a lot of small winners will win. A whole bunch of people that don't have a lot of money, they'll win, and then they'll have enough for a masternode. And so, but of course, right now there's not that many small stakers. People tend to get really excited about Divi, and then they start selling all their other coins and go full into it. There's a lot of that. So, right, but over time, what we'll see is people with the bigger nodes will eventually sort of slowly break them apart and sell them off, and there'll be more and more smaller nodes, a lot of smaller stakers. And we're going to make staking easier in our wallet. You'll be able to do it in the mobile wallet by doing remote staking, and
Now,
that'll make it even easier.
I have a technical question on that. And one, if you win it, it's almost enough for a silver node. It's enough for 2 coppers with staking also. So it's a pretty hefty win. But as far as staking goes, don't you have to have a wallet open and running in order to stake?
Right. Yeah, you have to have it running.
So how do you do that with a mobile app then?
Well, that way you basically have to do it in a pooled way, or you can set up a remote node. So basically, you set it up where it's on a server, and just like setting up a Masternode, it opens up an account for you on Amazon or on DigitalOcean in our case, and it basically sets up a Linux instance, and then it basically runs the node for you. And in that node, it's not just collecting money. It's actually an integral part of the network, right?
Yeah.
It is create when it gets that word, it has actually been. That means it was the node that was able to create that block for the blockchain that everybody's using, and that is Divi. The Divi blockchain is those staking nodes. So it's very important that we have those, and that's why the rewards are there. It's not just some sort of weird Ponzi scheme. It's actually doing work, and it costs a little bit of money to run these. It's a little bit of maintenance. It used to be that it was a lot more work. We've made it really easy, so it almost feels like free money at this point. But it's you're providing a very essential purpose. And the more of these nodes there are, the safer Divi becomes.
Well, that's about all I had. Anything else you wanted to go over or hit on?
Well, there's, we have so many cool announcements coming. Nick and I were going over the list yesterday, kind of like, well, should we talk about this? Problem is when you talk about something that's not, signed, then people start asking questions about it and it can cause trouble. So Nick's doing the sort of the monthly video of all the cool stuff that's happening. I think we're so excited about some of this stuff like Maya and other things. I think we're gonna let slip a bunch of more stuff than we usually do about what's coming. So people should stay tuned. They should watch that. And I'm not sure yet exactly what it's going to be in there. But we can do another interview a bit later and maybe next month. And we can go into more details on those things once you see the stuff that we're talking about. And there's going to be a lot of really exciting stuff. People are really going to be really surprised about how many innovative new things that Divi is bringing to our Divi economy all at once.
Yeah, that would be cool. Head over to Divi on Telegram and on Discord. I hate Discord. I don't like going there. It's like going to a bad neighborhood for me. I only do it when I have to. But they do have a great Discord. The community Divi is in crypto in general. I think the community is so important. It's I don't want to say it's as important as the developers in development, but without it, no project will make it. You know what I mean?
Yeah, you have to have both.
Yeah, and the Divi community is so supportive and so helpful. They have a Telegram channel and a support Telegram channel. They have bots set up to where you can check your masternode. You can check your staking rewards. You just put in like / staking and then space and how much you are. Everything's so easy. Even the support is set up so simple. It's just you don't understand how simple it is until you try it. So check them out. Get involved. Crush the like button. It was good hanging out with you. It was good talking to you, Jeff. You guys take care. I'll see you all in the next video.
Cool. Thanks. That was awesome.